where these guys seemingly are able to perform, and I definitely expect them to continue to do that over the course of the 6 games today. Shire's gone with Flick and Naston Thomas, an incredibly strong pick. These guys are sitting in 4th place right now. We saw what they could do in heats, right? They completely dominated their heat, and they're looking to try maybe sort of have a massive comeback like the way they did last season, right? Last season's trios, came into day 2 sitting in 15th place. They were able to turn things around and finished in 3rd. So they're going to be looking to try and, they're starting from a higher up position this time coming into day 2, right? And hopefully maybe they can sort of turn things around, push themselves, and really be the team to pull away and take the lead. Sancho's gone with Eyedrop, Tayson, and Mr. Savage. One of the trios who is a top trio. Do not get me wrong. Do not be deceived by the fact that these guys, aren't sitting in the top 5. These guys are a top trio. They had a rough day yesterday. It's going to be time for them to sort of pull something out of nowhere, right? They can't blame zones. They can't blame, sort of things out of their control. They've just got to be one of these trios who, regardless of what happens, they're going to be able to perform. And I do believe they have the ability to do that.
This is kind of like an anime in a lot of ways, right? You look across and you're like, oh, here's the main character of the story, I think, or maybe that's the main character. But in every shadow that is cast, some new enemy, some new trio could rise up and say, listen, you forgot about us. Now, I'm very excited coming into the day because we have to remember that this is a finals competition. This is a very tippy top, the 1%, if you will. Now, off of yesterday's performance, we saw Pink, we saw Trulix, and Stompy. They came out super strong with the Victor Royale. They had height, but then the rest of the lobby was like ready to answer, right? And I think that's what we kind of have to focus on. We see height with a lot of games, but when we're looking at that 1%, Reese, a lot of these trios are going to be like, no. Oh, I see you're making a play. We were doing a thing, but that's more important right now.
The issue with Pink's, Trulix, and Stompy's gameplay yesterday was like they started off so good, right? They had a 10 elimination in 1st place. They took that height early. They were sitting up in that top spot. They felt confident. They did pretty much exactly the same thing going into game 2. However, they did not have the ammo to do it. So they were on height. They didn't have the ammo. And then, they placed all the way up until 2nd, which was good, but they get 1 elimination from height, which is, your average is going to be 5+. So didn't manage to get the refresh on the ammo, so couldn't apply pressure down. And that's when Benji picked up that big, great Victory Royale moment that they did in game 2. Game 3, they attempted the same strat where they kind of were low on materials and they just played for height regardless. It didn't end up taking it, and Pink ended up going down, and then they ended up trying to go for it a second time during the first moving. So, for this team in particular, it looked like there was a little bit of like kind of one trick. And after those games, we saw them kind of go down the leaderboard a little bit more. So hopefully today they've come back and tried to figure that out. And, there's other teams like Kami, Seti, and Teak who did pretty much the opposite of that, who, started a little bit slow, fixed their game plan, and then in that last 3 games, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st, just by playing low and mid ground over the kind of typical play style. So hopefully we're going to see all different types of teams like adapt to their situations today.
What do you think, Levin?
Look, I think we're going to see probably much of the same. I think if you look at the teams who were successful yesterday over the course of those 6 games, the teams who are sort of really being able to prioritize and get good position in some of these earlier zones, right? Recently I broke it down after a couple of the games where I've seen so many teams on the Storm, man, right? So many teams who aren't getting into zone relatively early. You're sort of rotating alongside another team, and there's potential for things to go wrong there. And so, look, who's going to be able to realize, hey, look, nobody was really getting into zone early last time out. Can we be that team to maybe use a vehicle to rotate in quickly and, take advantage of the fact that there's not really anyone taking that sort of initiative? Those are the teams who are going to be successful today.
Oh, man. Well, Fortnite fam, we ain't got to wait that long because it's time. We're boarding the battle bus. Find your seats. We're kicking off the competition in style. We've got Sancho West in his championship gold. It's Shia Wager. He's got a floral pattern button up. Let's say hello to our casters. Over to you guys.
It's been an everlasting war this season of the FNCS, and we are now in its endgame. Welcome to day 2 of the finals, and after these 6 games, we'll have crowned a champion in the region of Europe.
It is Shia Wager and Sancho West bringing you all the action, breaking it all down. And boy, we have a treat for you. Thank you so much for joining us in Around the World. It is day 2, game 1, and it is time to see who's going to put a big-time effort to move up that leaderboard. I'm telling you, Shia, there's going to be a lot of big names. I think they're going to make some big-time movement here in day 2.
It's all about sending that message that you would not really fall asleep after that 24-hour kind of, shake-up period between days. Instead, Kemi and Teak hold their lead in first place. We saw the desk talk about how they've been so consistent over and over again. Sancho, the last 3 games were basically third, second, then first.
Here is their obstacle here in day 2. Knifers Trio has cut their Cammy split in half. So a lot of their loot that they really bank on is not going to be as powerful as it used to be. Now, Reese here talked about Pink. Now, Pink's Trio, yes, they've been going for height a lot of the time, but they cause all the other height teams in the region to get down. And the teams like Analex, the team like Thomas HD, the Hens Trio, those are the ones that love going for height, and they always get answered with an RPG. So let's keep in mind for that. As well, the change here for Flick, Thomas HD, and us is that Ingram's Trio has been contesting them. Let's see if Ingram kind of backed off a little bit because he was not successful going into those pushes.
Absolutely. If
Oh,